your man's Wykeem.
And this is the show.
And you are locked in to Levelz of Konvo. What up, man? Well, we got one of our co-hosts ain't here today, Miss Bosslon. So it's just gonna be me and him, man. So hey, yo, so what's up, man? What's the topic we got going on today?
We're gonna talk about what is it more difficult growing up being black today than it was 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, so me being 40, I could talk about 30 years ago. Him being 50, could talk about 40 years ago. 40 years. So what I like to do, I'm going to start off with you, because if you go back to when I'm an 80s baby raised in the 80s and 90s, you're a 70s baby raised in the 70s and 80s. So
absolutely.
What's your take on that?
So, keeping it 100, I'll be honest. I think that the kids today, I don't think they could deal with. They can't. I don't know why they don't do the things that we used to. But obviously, times have changed. But being a Generation X kid, you know what I mean. Like, we were kicked out the house in the morning during the summertime. Like, your mom was
Facts.
like, my mom was like, yo, listen. After you do all your chores, 10 o'clock. You ate your breakfast already?
Yeah.
You want to take a sandwich for lunch or something? And I'd be like, okay, yep. I'm gonna pack a sandwich. She was like, all right, make sure your ass is home when that street light go on.
Facts.
That's all I care. That's all I care about. When you hear that, before that light go fully bright, your ass better know you better be in the house.
You gonna get that ass whooped.
No doubt. But we would do so many different things. We would bike ride, we would go to the park, we play football in the street or football at the park, you roller skate, you skateboarding. During school time, obviously I come from a single parent home. So for me, it was, I was coming home, opening the door for my brother. I would make us lunch, actually dinner. Before mom got home from work, make sure he ate, make sure the homework was done, make sure that, the house is picked up. So she didn't have to come home and do anything. So, for me, it was different. And I don't think that the kids today could live the way that to do things the things that we've done, or they just choose not to. I don't know. It's kind of up there where.
Well, I tell you this, me raising a single mother home. My mama passed away when I was 10. My dad was on drugs and stuff like that, but he's good now. You know what I'm saying? That's my homie. But so I look at it like this, man. I think back then, even because I came up in the times of where you was still in the times of you too, right?
Yeah.
So we were still in them same times. So I remember going to school, getting my ass whooped at school, paddlings, corporate punishment of what they called it, right? And it took a village to raise a child then. And I think that anytime that anything went wrong, and when you're a black kid, let's just be honest, growing up in the times that we grew up as a black kid, you had crack cocaine, you had heroin. 70s was really cocaine, heroin, hippie era, whatever like that. But absolutely. 80s and 90s is when the freebasing came in. It was just different growing up as a kid, needles in the street. When I was 8 years old, I actually got kidnapped, believe it or not. I got snatched up because I was selling woo. You know what woo is, that fake dope.
Yeah.
I was a young kid. But growing up then, it was different because even though we was crazy and we did what we wanted to do in a ways, because, we got that ass whooped, we had to go get a switch. But back then, every black kid they seen was like trouble, right? It was like, this kid, if he ain't in sports,
absolutely,
or he ain't something like that. It wasn't like we was taught to become a doctor, become a lawyer, that wasn't put in our household, right?
Definitely.
It was either do music,
Yep.
Entertain, nigga. You need to be a motherfucking entertainer.
Remember the
You
fucking
feel?
family talent shows and shit, so they could see
Yeah,
which one of the
nigga.
kids
That's
had talent.
it. That was your shit. It's like nobody when we grew up, you feel me, especially in the black household. Let's just keep it all the way together.
Oh
When
yeah,
nobody telling you to be a doctor or a lawyer or go out there and start your business and be a CEO. It just wasn't preaching our family. And I think that came from what our grandmothers and stuff like that went
definitely.
through. And I just think now, man, even just talking about my own kids, right? I could tell them about anything. And I say, look, don't go this way, don't do it this way. My kid's black, right?
Mhm.
Even though they got babies by some white men, whatever, you still black. And you gotta
Correct.
understand that, you already got a strike against you, first and foremost. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Two, you're black, you in poverty. You know what I'm saying? You poor, you ain't got no money. Two strikes against you already. You're a
Yep.
black man, you already born with three strikes. You get what I
Definitely.
mean? You're black, you're male, and you ain't got shit. You get what I'm
Hmm.
saying? You
Yep.
already there. But I just think this day and time of kids, especially black kids, and not trying to leave no other people out, but a lot of black kids, I don't think they really understand the struggle as we did growing up. I just don't think they really get it. Do they really struggle like we did?
Well, what I think is when you talk to some of these kids today, and the newer generation, they be like, "Yo, old head, like you got to stop like talking about like that past is holding you back, or it held you back, and they're like we don't have those same struggles." So we all have an equal playing ground right now, and so my rebuttal to that shit is like, if you don't know where you came from, you can't know how you're gonna get there, because you got to know
Facts.
what you've been through and what you've been denied opportunities of, so you can make a new way. And the only reason why you guys have a new way is because of all the struggles we've been through and my generation before me been through, to allow you to have this way, that where you're an NBA player making $50 million a year.
You wasn't doing
You're
that shit back in the 80s.
sure wasn't, sure
Not
wasn't.
even close.
Not even like those.
Yeah.
There's all those ball players from the '80s, and most of them were broke, or
Yeah.
they had very little money, because they weren't given those big contracts. They weren't advertisers supporting them. They weren't those ways weren't paid for them. The athlete today is thankful for Michael Jordan, because Michael
Yes.
Jordan paved the way with advertisements from
Michael Jordan did pave the way.
he didn't. He
Well,
didn't. He
we had Bo Jackson first.
Yes, we have Bo Jackson
Yeah,
first.
Bo Jackson. Don't forget Bo.
I
You
can
can't
never
forget
forget Bo.
Bo. Yeah, yeah,
Bo
facts.
knows football, baby.
Yeah, yeah,
Bo
yeah,
knows basketball.
facts.
So,
But but yeah, and then it's like when you look, and then when you try to tell kids, like, look, man, you have, man, they just got it so easy. And let me get you something. We still, as black people, still got the systematic thing going on. Don't get it wrong, right? They still block us from stuff. That still
absolutely.
happens. But I can say this, and I hear people online, they be talking about stuff like, we had never get a chance because it was so many years, it was so many generations, and we'd never get up there. We might not see it in our lifetime. And we just being honest about that. But I can say this, we have had opportunities that we didn't used to have. Now, if you don't want, okay, if you want to be famous, cool. You want to be famous, you want to be whatever. But you have a phone now, right? And this phone can do so much damage, good or bad, that I don't
Definitely.
necessarily think that us as black people, we can be just super canceled. Yeah, we can go out there and try to get a loan, they won't give it to us. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
If they don't want to give us a loan, Why won't we come together as black people, start our own corporate, 10 of us, 15 of us, whatever, we put money in the pot. I've been trying to do that for a while. Look, and this is what happens. And this is a difference too.
Yeah.
Like it was back then than what it is now. Even cats that's our age, they are like forgetting where they came from and how it used to be back then as we watch our families, struggle and try to do things together. And a lot of us as our age are taking on the same mentality as the youngsters are taking on now. 50 years old sagging. Like, what's going on?
Correct.
Like, I'm saying, what the fuck? What's going on? Motherfucker got cornrows and shit.
Exactly.
Like, what's really going on? Right? So you try to talk to a lot of these young black kids, and they're like, how you going to talk to me when you trying to dress like me?
Correct.
Makes a lot of sense.
It makes a whole lot of sense. And I think that the biggest, what you hit the nail on the head when you said, we're trying, guys in my generation trying to blend in with this generation.
Yes.
And it should be the opposite. It should be our generation is giving them something to look forward to. But the problem with that is that so many in our generation, yours and mine,
yep,
that had opportunities, we either one, screwed them up, or two, had them swindled away from us,
yep.
no fault of ours. And, and we're doing a restart. Some of us are doing a restart in life because of opportunities that you've had that you no longer have. And doing that, what you're trying to fit in. And I think the wrong part of that is that you shouldn't have to worry about trying to fit in. You should just figure out, how do I move forward to the right generation that I'm staying in, and actually tapping on things in that generation that can allow me to have the younger generation to really look up to me. Because, like you said, that phone is powerful, right?
Yeah.
People our age, you and our age, right? We're pretty savvy for our age, because most of the people, they say, oh, 40s or 50s, they're not really computer savvy. They're not like Generation X. I mean, the Generation Z and the millennials. They're far more advanced.
And actually that's not really true, but yeah.
Correct. And we know that.
My generations are the most billionaires right now.
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg, the Google. You know what I mean? Hey, they my age. You get what I'm saying? They running the world right now. Let's just be honest. You 100%. Got, your age is Jeff Bezos.
Yes.
And Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. You feel what I mean? That's your group right there. Like, come on now. Let's just be honest. You ain't seeing no cats in their 30s and 20s that's got it like that.
No.
No.
I mean, you got some of the, you got these younger cats that, like they look up to, like Aiden Ross and what's the other cat? Kai Cenat. And that's their generation. That's good. I'm happy that that's what they're striving to, but there's so much more, right?
Yeah, and I think what happens is, we talk to the kids and a lot of black kids. And, because I know we're talking about that, a lot of black kids look at Kai Cenat, which dope. I like what he's doing. But they look at him and they look at other people and say, you know what? That's what I want to do. And if he can do it, I can do it. Let's just be real. And I know a lot of people going, I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this shit right here. But let's be all the way 100. Most of y'all are not going to ever get to that level. And I'm not saying, when I say most, we talking about 98% just not. It's like, for example, we doing this podcast, right? The podcast will get big, right? We might get to 100,000, might even get to 1 million, whatever. But doing what a lot of these other cats do, like a Cabby Lane, the black kid that is the most followed person on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Just hit it at the right time. The timing, the moment, the drive, the difference at that right time. And it was during COVID. When is going to be a next time that everything will hit like he needed it to hit? And
Correct.
Kyle Sinat, same stuff. And I think
100%.
a lot of us, a lot of the black kids today, they think that social media is their way out. So they neglect everything, put everything on social media, everything on YouTube, everything, like anything. They'll film a fight. It's they all
Yeah.
brawls in the hood.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, it's cool, but is that what you really want to be known for? That's why I respect some of these young cats, especially some of these black kids, like Calvin. What's his name? Calvin Grimes or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I follow him. Like I
Me
respect that
too.
like that. Comedian stuff, stuff that make people laugh, smile. And I just think it's different now. It's just different. It's just not like it was when I was growing up. I just see everything so different, especially in the black community.
Yeah. I think that, they're just trying to find a lane that is an easy lane instead of knowing that it's going to take hard work. Like you still have to put that work in. That work is everything because it's the only thing you can fall back on. Because just like when we were younger, and I mean, listen, I was good. I was good at playing football. I was phenomenal at playing football.
Yeah.
I was phenomenal at playing basketball, and it only takes one mistake that takes you off track, one injury that you don't heal from properly. You know, being online takes only one strike to get you canceled. That
Yes.
one last strike that where, you're like, all right, we're gonna do a little different this time. And next thing you realize that, one of your co-hosts said something that got that your podcast banned. And it's like, damn,
Yep.
So, what's the backup plan? And do they they don't have a plan. Most of them don't. They said, nah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be a streamer.
Well, I tell you this right here. I'm a agree with you about the backup plan, but then I'm gonna disagree a little bit, right?
Correct.
So, because that's what Levelz of Konvo about, right? So
Absolutely.
I agree with the backup plan in the sake of don't depend on social media. I
Correct. That's
agree
what I
with
mean.
that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that. Don't think that social media gonna be. Because the thing is, you can say something about me and you, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to be honest, we're not social media,
No, we're not. We're
right?
not the ideal. We're not the ideal people. We're not the ones that they're looking for.
Exactly. Because any day, if they don't bring me back to TikTok, I got my own app. I can do my Patreon. I can bring people to what I'm doing through my website. But I tell you, like, I don't gotta, like, when we get out there, we still gotta go to work in the morning.
Yes.
I still gotta go run some electrical wire. You still gotta go sell cars, right?
Yep.
And then I got a media business, which you see behind me. You see, boom, you'll see my movies on the wall. I got a new movie out. You see that. But
Correct.
it hasn't hit to where this is all I can do. You know what I mean? But I don't have a backup plan, but I have a plan in motion as we're
Exactly.
going. You get what I mean? So I won't
Absolutely.
call it a backup plan. It's a plan that's happening right now in motion. Pay these bills, make sure everybody is provided for. You get what I'm saying? And
Definitely.
that's the way that it goes. You get what I mean? And I think that's the best way to put it. You get what I mean? And I think that a lot of people got to understand that you can have a plan in motion as you're chasing that bigger plan. And when that bigger plan hit, then you can pump the brakes on that plan in motion and focus 100% on that. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I mean, listen, I agree 100%. So I think that, what I was trying to really get at was that, you know, just because they don't make it in that social media streaming space doesn't mean they can't be good in something social media else. Like AI is something new. So, you can use so many different things that, it has not popped off yet,
Yes.
like that. And long as you have a plan, which is what you were saying, which is what I was really going at,
Yeah.
trying to get to, is all that they need to make sure that they have is having a plan to succeed instead of not having no plan, which will allow you to fail. And failure is not bad, but it's bad only when you don't have a plan, right?
True.
And you, so that's the only thing that I think that why this generation is a little different, because I think that they sometimes do things a little haphazard, without thinking it all the way through, and they jump right in. And it's good. It's good because I think that, our generation was more cautious. We kind of thought things through, like how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that. And, we kind of put our pinky toe in the water to see if it's a little hot before we jump in it, or if it's too cold,
Facts.
we're not jumping it, right? And they don't. They just put the fucking blindfold on and fucking just walk out the door and just say, I'm just jumping.
And and the thing is, it's good to take risks. I get it.
Yes.
It's good to take risks. I took a risk back in 2020. Jumped out the porch, quit my electrical job, said I'm gonna go in business for myself, baby on the way. But it worked. But I have a different type of grind.
Correct.
And that's why I be trying to say about my kids. I'm like, look, y'all ain't got the grind and the hustle that I got. Y'all didn't come from that gritty background. So you're trying to get to a point where I'm at. You ain't got that grind yet. Correct. You ain't build up that that hustle. You feel me? So don't try to do what I do. You get what I mean?
100%. Definitely.
It makes a lot of sense. You feel what I mean? But what happens to that when they try to do that and they end up in a bad spot? You're like, why you didn't stay where you was at? You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Like, well, I'm trying to be a billionaire. Nigga, it ain't gonna work for you like that. Nigga, but first and foremost, you can't be talking about being a billionaire, nigga, if you can't even shut the fuck up and keep a job that you got in order to get your bread. Sometimes you gotta shut the fuck up. Let them win. You gotta let them win. If you think you gotta win every time, you ain't gonna be a millionaire.
100%. And I think that's the problem that we have today, is that their ability to listen to authority and people that are above them is where they go wrong, because they feel like no one needs to be able to talk to them or talk at them or tell them what they need to do, because they're their own person and they can think for themselves. And if they don't see it being the right thing to do, they're just not going to do it. And they're going to tell you that I'm not going to do it. And it's like, okay, well, then you're not going to be able to work here if you don't want to do it. And number two, you're not going to be able to tell me what rules you want to put in place. There's policies and procedures before you got here, so you need to follow those. And a lot of them just can't grasp that. That like they look at it like, well, just because 20, you've been in business 20 years and old man over there been doing it the same way for that, doesn't mean it was right.
Yeah,
it's stupid, and they'll call it out. They'll be like, it's stupid because of blah 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 blah. You're like, it may be stupid to you because of the way you're thinking about it, but it worked for the last 20 years, and we're not changing it because of you. And that's not me. That's just I'm watching, like, this is what's really going on in the world right now. So it's harder for them, I think, in that aspect of growing up, because of the way that they have grown up as kids. I think being, I wouldn't say spoiled, but I think afforded things that we weren't able to have. Growing up on a cell phone, growing up with, computers. We all know what it's like to not have those things. We grew up without
hell
them,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
We grew
you're
up
right.
where
No cell phone, yeah.
No cell phone. We grew up where we had to run down 10 houses down to tell Greg to come outside. Can he come outside at 12 o'clock?
And where your bike at?
Around.
Where all the bikes at? Where everybody at?
Exactly.
Bike there.
Where they wake up and the first thing they do is roll over to their phone. They go to Snapchat and send out a quick, yeah, and that's it. And that's their doing. That's their morning. That's their morning, bro.
And the thing is, I fuck with the young generation, man. I just wish they would listen a lot. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm for it. AI, moving forward, futureness. I'm all for it.
Me too.
And I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you my I know we winding down right now. We got about 2 minutes. But I'm gonna give my 30-second thing on it. This is what I think. Growing up black, what we started off with back then to now, totally different. It would never be the same. The struggle would never be the way that it was because we have too much technology. And to the young cats, man, I respect what you want to do, but remember, you have to have the hustle, grind, and you got to know what losing is like in order to win. What do you think, Show?
I'm going to piggyback that real quick and just say, listen, bring your A game all the time. Whatever it is you want to do, young buck, just know, listen, without a plan, there's failure. Have a plan so this way when you fail, you can see where you failed at. But keep pushing and don't stop. Don't let no one tell you no, because this is what this generation is about. It's about getting up and keep going, because that's how you're going to get to the top.
Facts. And let y'all know we go I'll bring about the brutally honest question on the next episode. Is when I ask a brutally honest question, you got to give me your honest opinion, and then we'll go off on that. So what I would like to say to the young generation, I would always like to say to them, look, man, keep your head up, okay? Stop saving, all right? Stop saving, start investing.
Facts.
Remember that. If your money can't make more money, then it's doing nothing for you. I always remember that. I'm glad that y'all been locked in, man. Hopefully we'll have Bosslon back on the next episode. If not, then it will be me and Show, and we will be, looking for another co-host, man. And that's how it goes sometimes. Hey, man, I think, man, we off to a good start.
Definitely.
And hey, we gonna keep it moving and stuff like that. So all I want to say is this, y'all. Thank y'all for being locked in to Levelz
of Konvo.
Appreciate y'all, man. And guess what, man? We will see y'all on another one, man. Hey, every Monday, man, we'll be dropping, man. Make sure y'all go download the Heat Level Radio app. Go see it on the Heat Level Podcast Network. Levelz of Konvo, and that's Levelz with a C of Konvo with a K. Konvo. I appreciate your show.
Yeah. Thanks.
Hey, man. Hey, I will see you on the next one. Everybody, make sure you like, subscribe,